Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. And guess what? We've got, as always, a fun episode for you today. We're going to be talking about some exciting subjects, which include blockchain and agriculture. More importantly, agriculture itself. What is happening throughout the industry around agriculture, or ag tech, as many refer to it? From the investor standpoint, where are the opportunities? Where are investors investing, and how are they thinking about these investments now here in 2021, including looking at our supply chain, looking at the marketplaces, the platforms, everything in between to make sure that food gets to you, the end consumer. But on the other side, where are the opportunities for you, entrepreneurs? Well, we're going to break all of that down. I've got two outstanding co-hosts with me today, who I'll introduce in just a moment. But before we do, a big thank you to the LATOKEN team, to Maria, for making today's episode of VCTV possible. Couldn't do it without you. And make sure you check us out on LATOKEN.com to hear from today's speakers and all speakers of the VCTV family. With that, Keith, welcome back to the show. Your hair is looking great today. We're all, by the way, audience, having a great hair day. So we're rocking and rolling with this. Please do say hi in the comments. We'd love to hear from you and hear where you're tuning in from. Keith, welcome to the show. A little intro, a little background.
Morning, Kyle, Wendy. Great to be back here. So I am CEO of UpperStage Capital. We do growth equity for good. We look to make an impact in the lower middle market, taking companies from profitability to really making a huge impact on the world. I come to that after 20 years in venture capital, initially with Mitsubishi and then BASF, and then 10 years as general partner of my own fund. So agriculture is an area that I'm very, very excited about, stemming back from my BASF days when I knew nothing about it and found myself on the board of directors of a few companies in that space. I have a few companies there. I'm particularly excited about sustainable ag and the move towards integrating both new biological approaches and digital software approaches to come up with precision ag that's less wasteful and much higher yielding. I'm very excited about the ability to make money and make a better planet in that space.
Absolutely. Well, wonderful. Welcome back. And last but not least, Wendy, welcome back to the show. A little intro, a little background for everybody.
Hello, I am Wendy, and thank you to the team. Woohoo! So happy to be back. I am Wendy Diamond. I'm an angel investor as well as limited partner in 4 funds. And one of my funds is specifically focused on agriculture. And I have a foundation in 144 countries to empower women in business to alleviate poverty, which is an official day on November 19th called Women's Entrepreneurship Day that U.S. Congress has recognized as an official day. And one of the biggest initiatives that we have is to support women farmers around the world. So this is a very important topic for me. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Let's start right there. Wendy, I mean, you've been investing in this. You've got an organization. You focus very heavily on supporting agriculture and farmers around the world. Tell us a little bit about, why you started this, why you're doing this, and also now what you're looking at and how that has reshaped here in 2021.
I mean, as an investor, I love food, right? And I've been a vegetarian since 7 years old. My family was also in the food business. So food, agriculture has been a very big part of my entire life. And I think everyone's life, right? What we eat is who we are, right? And so, my first investment in the space, I was an angel investor in a company called Producers Market, which, is creating this whole ecosystem to connect farmers directly to retailers and cutting out the middle people using blockchain and enabling traceability, transparency. But more importantly, what we all want to know, storytelling. Where did our food come from? What is our food made from, et cetera. And so that's, one of my primary investments that I've looked at. We are now officially partners, as what I do with a lot of the companies I get involved with is connect them with my ecosystem. So bringing the United Nations Environmental Program, the government of India, IBM and Walmart, et cetera, as partners to enable these companies to accelerate growth, but to also bring awareness and bring the traceability and transparency to what we are eating. And so that's, one of my, primary companies that I'm involved with. And then recently I just became a limited partner in Earth First Food Ventures, which is a incredible team. They all come from, JP Morgan and et cetera, but what they did is they brought together some of the biggest family offices in the world that are, number one, highly invested in this space, but also getting behind plant and cell agriculture. And that's pretty much what the whole company is based on. We've already done 4 investments. One of the portfolio investments is one of the largest land-based Atlantic salmon farming companies. They are literally revolutionizing aquaculture. Right? I don't know if you guys have seen, Seaspiracy and stuff like that. It's a little frightening out there, right? But we can't say to everybody, stop eating fish, because we, especially like in places like India, we need fish to be healthy and live, right? And as a vegetarian, I do not eat fish, but I do recognize the importance of fish, right? And so this company, it's called Pure Salmon. And, we've got, Temasek and some of the biggest funds in the world have come into this because it's super important. What everybody wants to know, and why I'm so supportive of blockchain, is it's literally the finest salmon in the world you can get. It's traceable, sustainable. It's also produced locally. It's a model that they're using right now. There's, negotiations to create this right now in India. And really what is more important about this is that it's the greatest, there's no negative impact on the marine ecosystems, right? There's no release of chemicals, there's no antibiotics, it's only organic waste. And this, I think, is just really important when people realize what they're eating and what they're investing in, is that they clearly look at what impact this is going to have on the environment. Another one of the companies that they're very, bullish on, and that they were like seed investors in, is a state-of-the-art hydroponics vertical farming technology. It's called Crate to Plate. And this is based in the UK. And that's one of the things about when I invest, I personally invest in the US, right? Especially Delaware, but I don't really do outside investments. And going into this fund specifically, I wanted to have more exposure internationally and globally. And so this is, again, what I love, because, I love salad, I'm a vegetarian, but this is also, using LED technology and vertical farming so that there's no pesticides, no chemicals, no herbicides, and we can scale this around all over the globe. And so that was one of the other ones that I loved. And, as somebody who understands, Beyond Meat and Impossible Burger, it's really great for the environment, but not for, so much for you as a person, right? So looking at other ways and investing in that, another company is called Plant Power, and that one is tempeh, right? And it's another alternative for people. And that's another one that I really like, because it's much more healthier for you as well as the environment. And then also going back into the ghost kitchens and things like that, creating a fast food chain in Europe. It's called Pomegranate. And that one is going to literally use food trucks. It's never going to be brick and mortar, but to use all the products that we're already invested in, including Plant Power for the protein in the products that we're going to be selling, et cetera. Also the fish and et cetera, and the salad from Crate to Plate. So that's the concept of, Earth First Food Ventures, is creating this whole ecosystem to be able to go in and out and use and work together with all the companies that we're invested in, and to accelerate growth and to enable everyone in the world to eat healthy, right? It's a $4 trillion market. So it's a big market. There's a lot of money to be made. So, and to have opportunities like with companies like these that we know are going to make this world a better place. And that's kind of what my focus is in. And I, interested in anything in this space.
Wow. I mean, it's great work. At the same time, I just got very hungry talking all about this great fish and food. Yes, it's early in the morning here, but this sounds great. But no, I mean, honestly, what you have done, this ecosystem you've put together with this fund, it's phenomenal how everything continues to work together. And Keith, I know you've made a number of investments in this space and doing something very similar. Share a little bit more about what you're doing and some of your companies, if you can, from an investor standpoint.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. One of my most exciting opportunities that I've invested in is a company out of Michigan and RTP, which is called Vestaron. And what they have developed are, they've taken molecules discovered in nature, which are very, very good at killing insects, pests, specific insects. They don't actually have any effect on bees and certain other classes of insects, but they interfere with a particular neurotransmitter receiver that only exists in the metabolism of these classes of insects. Mammals don't have them, fish don't have them, birds don't have them, etc. And so these are very, very safe for consumption. There's what's called a zero pre-harvest interval, which means that these things could be applied and you could harvest right away, whereas most pesticides that are out there have a pre-harvest interval that's in days. So as a grower looks out at her crops and she sees that there's severe insect pressure, but she's very close to harvest, she has to make a heartbreaking decision. Do I actually treat to protect my crop, which I may not be able to harvest before it starts to die out there in the field, or do I just let these insects destroy my crop because then I can at least harvest tomorrow or the day after? And Vestron gets around all of that and is able to match the efficacy of the leading synthetics, which are deadly. I mean, they work really, really well, but they're like, attacking mosquitoes with a shotgun, right? You're going to hit everything in that area, including humans and the soil biome and all kinds of other things that have terrible domino effect of negative repercussions to the environment, which is why those kind of compounds are being phased out worldwide. So I'm very, very excited about a biologically derived, safe and manufacturable economic solution that can completely replace those synthetic compounds and get us to a safer, healthier world.
Well, and with that being said, I mean, where else do you see opportunities, Keith? And you're laying bets in this space. What is getting you excited outside of that? So that those are listening, whether they're investors trying to figure out ag tech and food, which are both very unique, right? If you've never invested in there, there's a lot that may be overwhelming at first, but also for the entrepreneurs that are building some pretty outstanding products in this for the first time. And some of those may be consumers-based products, which have their own roadblocks that come with those. Some may be enterprise. What is getting you excited from an investor standpoint, so our audience knows what to start looking at?
Sure. Well, Wendy touched on a couple of things where we have investments. Number one, she talked about traceability, and I'm excited about supply chain opportunities. We have a company out of Hawaii, also with offices in California and Arizona, but called TrueTag, and they have an edible powder which is uniquely microstructured and can be read by a special device, but actually even by your phone. You can just point at the actual food itself or a bottle of wine or whatever it is. And because it is silica-based, so that's sand-based, it's completely edible. We all eat silica all the time. These compounds can be scanned, and you can tell specifically the batch, where it came from. It's like having a code, a barcode or a QR code right in the actual product. And I love that they made this out of something which is edible, that doesn't need to be separated. It can go on the label, doesn't need to be on the label. It can be in the product itself. So that's what I'm very excited about. And Wendy also touched on a huge trend going on in food and ag right now, which is around alternative proteins. And yes, the plant-based proteins excite me. I'm also looking at an opportunity in a plant-based seafood substitute. Very excited about the trends that are going on in that space. But there are other things going on too. I have an investment in a company called Callista out of California that uses a naturally occurring microorganism that eats natural gas. It eats methane, and it metabolism produces an animal protein. So the same kind of protein that we eat all the time. But this microbe literally eats fossil fuel, and then its waste product is something which is completely edible to us. already going into the aquaculture space, where because of the way this is made, it, as opposed to chopping up fish to make fish meal, which is the protein of choice in that industry right now, this process has no bacteria, no viruses, nothing like that ends up in the food chain. So that's very, very exciting. And I have to just sort of touch on it. I know this is an icky topic for many people, but insect protein. I think there's enormous opportunity here. I'm an advisor to a company out of Vietnam doing cricket farms. There's a company pretty locally to me here that I'm very excited about, harvesting black soldier fly larvae for protein, and that's a fascinating organism. If we have time to get into it, that's just an amazing animal.
Keith,
Thank you.
Yeah. Wendy's all excited. Keith, nerd out for a moment. Go for it. Tell us. Get into it for a second.
Oh, okay. Well, the black soldier fly. This I'm going to totally geek out here. Okay, well, most organisms, right? When we're adults, we've got two basic things driving us, right? Food and sex, right? Those are the basic drives in animals: stay alive and reproduce. The black soldier fly, by the time it becomes an adult, it's very efficient. It's only got sex on its mind. That's it. No food. In fact, evolution has really favored sex here, insofar as the black soldier fly does not even have a mouth. By the time it becomes an adult, its only purpose is sex. So it means that you don't have any losses to your biomass if your larvae get past due, right? If they mature and become adults, they're not further eating nor mucking up the biomass that you're trying to convert into protein. So it makes it very unique for any insect that you want to harvest. Ultimately, it's not the adults that you want for the food. They really are only good for sex. It's the larvae, which are nutty. They have a lot of protein. The oil, they are appetizing. Even the smell in their complex there. I mean, yeah, you have the rotting vegetation smell, right? But where they're actually processing the larvae, it's a nutty smell. It's a pleasant, appetizing smell. So yeah, excited about the opportunity there.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, not only were you going to learn about blockchain and agriculture along with food, you also got a little bit of a biology lesson from the insect world.
I know you've resisted me talking about sex on all these shows before, so thank you so much for finally letting me talk about it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's all a part of nature and our food system, so there you go. All right. Wendy, to you, areas of opportunity, things you're excited about as well.
You know, as a vegetarian, though, I'd like to say, Keith, I still will not eat insects. That's disgusting. You know, but I actually, you know, you should do a documentary on it, because I'd actually love to watch it, like kind of understand their behaviors. So yeah, one of the things, you know, Kyle, like that I'm really also very excited about is I recently also invested in open grants, and there's over $1 trillion of non-dilutive funding for entrepreneurs, for scientists, for so much. And there's a huge amount for agriculture. So entrepreneurs out there, this is a huge thing that you should check out, opengrants.io. They are now onboarding all the grants and everything, but there's so much non-dilutive funding out there to enable, you know, these startups to really get going and to start seeing opportunities, especially in these spaces, because, you know, as we know, you know, we need to really kind of look at, with climate change and everything, how can we make, you know, carbon credits? How do we help this world? So I think that's, you know, one of the things that I think is really interesting, you know, to be able to democratize and make it really seamless and easy for people to access non-dilutive funding. So that's one thing I'd like to offer people. And Keith, any of your companies that are looking, there's so much opportunity. I was looking at it and I was like, wow, it's a great time to be an entrepreneur. And so, you know, so right now, you know, again, you know, our fund is, they've just closed. So there's a, there's a lot of, anybody in this space that has got some, we're investing in seed and Series A. And so we're always open to any companies, especially for cell-based and plant-based.
Wonderful. Wendy, where can everyone find you online to continue the conversation?
Well, if you Google me, you can see all about what as a vegetarian and animal lover. But, you could just go to wendydiamond.com, and that's where you can get all my social media and see the funds that I'm in and see everything that I'm invested in as well. Awesome.
Keith, thank you.
Great. Well, you can follow me on LinkedIn or on Clubhouse, where I'm pretty active. UpperStage.capital is the website. Still pretty stealthy, but that's not going to last much longer.
All right, can't wait. Well, Wendy, Keith, thank you very much for your time today. And since we're all having a great hair day, we're going to end on a good note as well. To our audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, make sure you click subscribe, like, and share today's episode. Also, reach out to Wendy, Keith, and myself. We'd all love to hear from you and learn what you're building or what you're investing in as well. Reach out on our respected social networks. Do add context where you heard us, where you met us, and what you would like to continue the conversation about. With that, again, a big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria for making today's episode possible. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back here with more VCTV in just a bit. Everyone have a good day. Bye.
Cheers.